Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel, Art Classes My Way. We are continuing onward with this guy. You might have noticed that I did do a few extra little things with it off camera. Nothing big. I just took my pre-twisted wire, wrapped him around in a few places, put some gaps in a few of those places just to give it a little bit of texture more than anything. And you'll see a lot of other weavers, they'll go in and weave something and give it gaps and space, which I think is a really cool look. I do like that look quite a bit. My only word of warning about that is that you do it for smaller areas, or if you're going to use it for a wide area, you're going to want to use a slightly bigger braided wire or twisted wire for that, just so that way you have a little bit of control over it and keeping it from being spaced out very far. So we're just going in and continuing on filling in a lot of these gaps, and I do have some 20 gauge twisted wire here. This is pre-bought, obviously, from the package if you saw it. And it's silver. I don't know how much of it I'm going to use, but I feel like it'll add just a nice little form as well for more texture and bringing this texture into this silver color in addition to the texture of the green. So we're just going to find a little place to anchor this guy. It is in between the, it's the next size down from this wire that I've been using this whole time. So that's 22. And I'm just going to find little holes and gaps to put him in. Anchor him down, and I think I'm going to anchor him around these two wires here in the back. There we go. All right. And then we're just filling in a lot of the same stuff as before. Because he went down through here, if I bring him up through this way, if I can find a spot that he can fit through, I don't want him to come up near my pearl there. There we go. Now he is going to end up going around this, so that'll still hold the previous area that we did in place. Nice and neat. Now this is going to go, it's going to be a very, very small area that this guy is going to kind of fill in here. Very underneath everything. If I can find a hole that goes through. Make sure I don't get a kink. And he fills in the area inside a little bit deeper, which is perfectly fine. There was a hole in there where I could see through all the way. Now I can't. So I'm perfectly fine with that. And you can also go in and fill in more with R22 if you wanted. Now a good part of the smaller wire, it's all going to be up underneath here, so I'm not as worried about it looking as bad. I know I've been telling you this whole time, make sure you plan the back to be as nice as the front, but I do have one more little trick up my sleeve to teach you guys that's going to, because we still have to cover up all of these pearls along the side here anyway. So, which by the time we do something bigger to help fill this in, all of this underneath is going to be very well hidden, so we won't have to worry about it nearly as much. Now, this wire that I am currently using is experimental for me because according to the package, it is nickel free, but it also says that this wire is German silver. Now, for those of you that don't know what that means, that is perfectly fine. But German silver is basically silver that's been, from my research, it's silver that has been mixed with nickel so that way it doesn't tarnish. And if a key term there, it is tarnish resistant or a non-tarnish metal in some way, shape, or form. That is your cue that, hey, this has nickel in it, because nickel is a very difficult metal to tarnish. That's why, like 18 karat gold, a lot of that doesn't tarnish. Well, that's because it's got nickel. So that's some of the shenanigans out there. But so I am interested in finding out, one, if this is actually nickel free. So I will be testing this on myself first before anything else. Again, just going in there. And I'm thinking about following along. Oh, I could dip down inside of my little curly cue here. That seems like a fun idea. But I'm interested to see how this is German silver when it has those kind of properties. It's rather intriguing. And of course, it's not like I can't call Beetalon Long. Beetalon. That's the name of the company. I can't call them and say, hey, so yeah, how did you do this? Because, you know, might as well just go ahead and call KFC and say, hey, what are the secret ingredients in your chicken? You know, trade secrets and the like. Being what they are, then I'm just a little nobody, so I'm sure that they don't really care what I have to say about their products. Which is why I will test them on myself, regret it, and then inform you all of my findings. And for those of you who may be wondering about gunmetal is not nickel free. I can tell you that for sure. Now you can hear that texture going through there. If this was a colored wire, like this green or whatever, it would so be getting worn off, but this is supposed to be silver. Silver. I apologize if I'm not too terribly entertaining tonight because I am recording this at 2 a.m. This is the first opportunity I've had to even think this week about getting this video recorded. I'm just trying to get him to fall up underneath there, underneath the crystal here. And a nice big gap, but he doesn't want to go, so it's okay. Do what you will. But yeah, I'm recording this right now at 2, and I may end up stopping, which will just be a jump cut for you. You won't really know too much, but yeah, and then I'll try to finish it up the next day. So this could very easily be late, and if it is late loading, I apologize. Life, work, and all those things just got in the way. Now, I got this guy kind of curling in the background here, and I like that, so I want to keep that there. I might even try to figure out how to do a few more like that as well. And maybe even a little bit up front here. That looks beautiful. And go up through the back so that way he just follows there. And I'm thinking something needs to go in through here as well. So I'll see if I can't stick him down through, which I really think that's probably way too tight in there to... So I'll just stick my thumb, there we go. I should have some wiggle room now. Now I'm gonna need to probably bring in this 20 gauge or 22 gauge here and come in and end up holding him where I'm going to want him to actually be permanently. So just hold him right there while I tighten. Whoop, not too far. A little pull, a little tug, tug, tug. All right. It's just not going to work out like I was hoping, but right there's still fine because I got a little bit of him showing up. And then again, once I add some more wire in here, it'll look plenty nice. See, I'll thread him through the hole here. See how he looks. Yeah, he just doesn't want to fit through there. So let's go through this hole that I can see. Yeah, there we go. And I'll make him come up through the side, and nope, on the side I said. And scoochy scooch, scooch, scooch. There. Then I'm gonna come back up. Maybe? Where'd you go? There. Come back up. And come around. Maybe I'll even do the same thing again. But like I said, you know, adding a little bit of spacing in between the wrap adds a nice little texture. Maybe that's what we need to do. So I got a little hoop back here. Maybe I will just lift him outwards a little bit, make him come stand out like so. And then that gives me an anchor to use, which I can probably only go through him one more time and make it work, if that. But then I can flatten him back down after. Come on. Now we can see it start to look like a bit of an awful mess back there. But again, I'm gonna hide a good chunk of it by going through. Coming up again, maybe, come on. Stab it through the right thing. It's not like the hole isn't big enough. There we go. Now I don't think I can get another one through there, so I'm gonna go ahead and just squeeze him back flat. Back where he was, there. And down through another time. it's starting to get a really cool and interesting looking little feature down there. It's starting to feel a little bit like a weave, or like ropes that are being wrapped around here and the ropes are twisting and wrapping around from behind, which they are, but not quite the way intended. And I got a bit of a big hoop there, so if I exaggerate that, then I can start wrapping him around himself there. Yeah, like so. Yeah. And then up. Whee! Yeah. And I think I want that to be the last one I do right there, because I still want enough room. And since this is like a big block of silver right here, I think I want to be able to come in through with some green a little bit later on. So yeah, this is just basically a lot of filling in and a lot of doing things that you saw me do in the last video. It's just finishing it up, experimenting, see what feels right to you the most. And I think I want to bring this texture up into here. I might even try to wrap and give a spaced wrapping around one of these silver wires through the back here. So if I lift just a little, no, come on, just a little lift. Here we are. I don't want to do too much down here at the bottom because a lot of my red is now like completely vanished, and I don't want it to disappear. I still want it to be there, so I don't want to do too much with the bottom. And now that I put a few good solid wraps in there, slide them down. That way they look like they're coming upwards just a little bit. Once I get a few more in there, I can probably slide them down a little further. And you want to be careful too when you're doing this, especially with the colored wire, because you could easily rub the color off of the colored wire that you've already got laid down. And you can probably hear this wire like whoosh, like a zipper. So just be careful when you're doing it, because it'd be a shame to undo so much hard work. I want to space these guys a little bit better. And then I'm going to take this and we're going to go and hide in the back. Maybe. If he'll come on. If he'll find a spot. To come out in the back. That also is important. There we go. Now, this wire has always been pretty loose because he curls around here and he's just underneath his red wire, and then he curls back up here. Now that I've got this wire around, I can hold him back, and now he's truly, depending on what I do with this wire now, he's truly anchored back behind this a lot better, a lot more safe for him. So, and I did do a little bit of adding some green along the back here as well. And I think we'll just go underneath this guy. And now we could follow just one or two little areas up here, so that way this wire doesn't feel like, you know, he's all down here and nothing up at the top. Or non-existent up at the top. Yeah, come on. I know you can fit through somewhere. And he's work hardening on me too. So it's in this, if pre-bought twisted wire, it's probably, they've not preheated it or anything, so it's probably just about as hard as, you know, if you did it yourself. So you don't have any added benefits that way. I kind of want him to get downwards into this crevice here, so I have to get in here and lift and tuck. There we go. Now he just slips in and comes up through there. Fingernails, I'm telling you. Now I think I want him to kind of follow this guy and come around. Which he does do rather beautifully. The only thing is he's pretty vulnerable right there, so if I can find a way to kind of slide him in just a little bit there, like that. Now he's kind of tucked in between this green one, and if I shift this guy over just a little bit, it's going to take a little bit of work. Now he's kind of can get covered up and protected a little bit better. And then we can just come around, wrap and follow, wrap and follow. Whoop, come on. Grab that little tail. And he ended up following pretty nicely. There. And a 1. And a 2. And 3. And you couldn't ask to have cut that any better. And a lot of this is just going off of, you know, just gut feeling, a hunch. Kind of like cooking. Or at least I tell my husband anyway. The way I cook, and he can't understand how it is that I cook. Whenever I cook and I add seasonings and spices, I can just like pour out some in my hand and just figure, you know, just work it out a little bit and like, that's what I got left? Okay, put it back in the bottle. Because I just, you know, and then it ends up being perfectly salted. It's just practice and time and, you know, lots and lots of work. And he's still yet to really discover how to do that. He's done a lot better. He's getting pretty good at it. Before, he used to season nothing. And like, oh, well, I wanted the people who are eating my food to be able to season it for themselves the way they like it. And it's like, no. That's not the way the world works, dear. No. He's come a long way. Forgive him. Alright, now I really want to add some green wire. This wire is so thin, though. Yeah. Because right in here, I really feel like I need more green. And you're too springy. What moves? Okay, that's moving this away. So I'm going to pull this a little tighter. And what's happening is this wire at the end is trying to slide upwards, and I don't want him that far away from everything. I want him a little closer with his friends down that way. So I'm just tightening him up in the back here. And I'm going to fold him a little bit and push him around. So that way he kind of wants to stay put. A little better. See how that goes. such a useless amount of green. I just cut myself a length of 30 gauge, 30 gauge green wire here. Feel like I'm trying to embroider with a single hair at the moment, which is a lot of what this wire weaving and such really does feel like. It just feels like you're trying to embroider things on top of your embroidery work. Then I'm gonna take this little green hair and go in between each one of these areas here, these spun bits that I laid side by side, and see if I can't get a little bit of green to lay in between each one of those. Now we just got it going through, and it's just little hairs of green here and there just to add a little touch, little wires going through and wrapping around just a few areas, little peaks. And that's really all I want from this wire itself. Now I can go along the back and I could go ahead and fill in a few things or continue maybe a weave just a little bit more, like for instance this spider weave. I always call it a spider weave. It always looks very spider webby to me. And if I wanted to, I could continue that for a little space. Alright, so now we've got a little bit more of it filled in. I'm not going to continue to bore you guys with the rest of filling this in between the 20 and the 22 gauge wire. So I think you guys can figure out where we're going with all of this right now. Now I'm going to show you how to kind of block the side. I'm going to need my power drill for that, so be right back. And I'm not sure how much longer I'm going to stay up. It is now 3 o'clock. We are going to go ahead and kind of tape our freshly spun wire here. So that way it's just a little bit easier to do a little bit more spinning with. And it is on our 22. And I probably shouldn't need too much. If I curved it around, give myself enough extra for tails and wrapping. Oh, right there. There we go. Actually, no, that's wrong. Because then I'm going to wrap this around something else. Okay, start over, scratch that. Whee! Let go. There. I'll use that for something else. Because I really don't know how much this is going to take up. I've not actually, I know the theory behind this, but I've never actually done it. Takes a lot of time and a lot of materials to make this next part. I'm going to take all of this that I spun, which was pretty much my, both my arms held out as far as I could, and start wrapping. Now there is a tool out there that does this where it's like a stand and then it'll spin just this wire, and basically you hold this wire and it spins around it. Considering that people don't really make this this little, it's like a triple wrapped wire. People don't do this too terribly often, so I really, or at least make very much of it. So I really don't see too much reason to get that instrument. But if you feel that you will be doing a lot of this, please feel free to go and have at. And just wrap, 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 wrap. All right, so we're just gonna anchor this guy down and do it super simple with just a little head pin kind of action. We're just gonna roll that. I got this wonderful single wire right here. Whoop. Whoop. Come on. Hook. Hook, hook. And then we're gonna close it along here. Perfect. And now that'll run along the side here. And depending on how much you want to have show on the outside, I'm enjoying this line a lot, so I really myself would not want very much of this to show. But I want it to kind of come around like that. And we'll probably try to hook around this here. All right, so pretty much got that determined. And then we're going to take our, at this point, this is a double wrap, and start wrapping it, come on, around this wire. And there's the triple part of it. Just get it going here. Now this is pretty damn hard to try to wrap tightly because you're going to be juggling a lot of things, and there might be a better technique for doing this out there. And I will freely admit that. And I'm going to just end this guy here. I can go ahead and wrap that, and I could even do a second one here too, because I'm going to have to, because this ended pretty darn quick, and making a lot of the first wire, that takes a lot of materials. Oh, it takes so much. But you can see how that fits really nicely along the sides. And I've seen a lot of people, not only do they put this wire, wrap it around, but they'll have like a solid wire and wrap it like they basically hold it along the side and wrap them together. But depending on how you do it, you can either put it a little bit more on the side here, and that blocks, and then that's what it would look like from underneath, which is what I want to do, more or less. I really wanted it to hide just a little bit more, but that's okay. Because otherwise, if I hide it just a little bit more behind, so that way it's more of a little loop, I'm going to have a lot more gaps to fill. So I'll just go ahead and roll him upwards like so. And end that guy, make him a little tighter. And I can use the tail of this as a security wire once I figure out where I'm going to anchor it to help hold it, you know, nice and tight to whatever it is that I'm doing. And that's pretty tight, so I'm going to go ahead and end him on the inside here. Yeah. As find a place. Well, that's just... couldn't ask for it in a more appropriate area right there. Right off to the side. But this is how I've noticed a lot of people hide a bunch of their stuff from the sides, and also how to fill in larger areas as well that you don't want to, you know, do all this. You just do a couple of these and that fills in a huge area. And it adds a really cool texture. It's not something you see very often. Again, it takes a lot of materials. So let's roll you around. Come on. Close you up just a little bit. All right. And roll him back. Get him into the correct position like so. Now I have this wire to try to anchor him down with. Again, kind of acting... well, this is the anchor, this is more of the stabilizing guide wire. But and then I want to stick him back through, because right now he's going around that copper wire where we purled or put the pearls on. So just, boop, no, other side. You don't need to go down that. That hole is huge. Go in. And no, that's what she said jokes. No, those are not allowed. Double check, make sure we are recording. We are indeed. The battery's about dead though. All right, now that ought to hold him over there. We'll go ahead and take this. All right, and that's all tucked in. Now he's pretty tight because he ended up getting stuck underneath what I just anchored down. So he is like golden. Beautiful. Couldn't ask for a better situation there. And be careful because there's a bit of a gap there that I don't want there. So now be very careful when doing that, because you could end up like taking out a huge section of your thumb doing that. I've done it. It's not fun. Be careful. All right, so that, and I want to go up and then down one more time around that copper wire. All right, now we have another wonderful texture that we can add, or that we've added in. It mimics this a little bit, going on along the sides there. Also helps to hide our pearls, and we can still go in there and add some more wire to fill in holes and gaps like we should. Now that's not exactly pretty, so what I'm trying to do is put a curl here without undoing that hook. Kind of maneuver him just a little bit. And then you can just start adding lines and different things of the sort. So I'm going to add one solid right there, so that way it feels like this whole solid piece is intentional. And then by doing this, we're going to end up guarding and protecting that green wire that's a semi-anchor there as well. Another kind of curl, and then I'm gonna go through someplace, maybe. Come on. Give myself a little thread area there. Now we want to be very careful when we're pulling, because we don't want to, at least in my case, I got him exactly where I want him, so I don't want to end up moving him into a position I don't want him to be in. On accident. But we can see now I got this nice little bit coming around, which is going to help hide how we ended it and so on. And why not go for a double like I've done in a couple places around here? That kind of calls back to something that we did in the previous part. There we go. There. And then that adds a detail right there. And now that I got that in, I can come back up somewhere else, any place else. Doesn't too terribly much matter as long as you don't change things like what just happened to me there. So tighten a little bit more. There we go. Copy this curl. So I want it to be a little bit tighter. All right. And then I got a nice little double wire, one coming from here, one coming from here, one's coming around. Though I want to kind of hide this single bit right there a little bit. So we've gotten that guy all in there. You can see what I've done here, and by the way, it is now the next day. I could not stay up anymore, so obviously this video is late, and I do apologize for that, not posting it at the regular time, but it will be up today, obviously, because you will all be watching it by the time you see this. But you can see what I've done with this, and I do plan to do the exact same technique, but I'm going to do it over here. And I'm just debating on whether or not if I want to do it in red or if I want to go ahead and continue with the green, because like I said, there's very little red showing and maybe I want a little touch more is all. So yeah, it's pretty, now I've shown you all the techniques. You can pretty much figure it out from this point onwards on your own. Kids are fighting. And then again, it's just filling things in, and I might even stick him in there. Not nearly that much, but hanging out. But I've hooked him around all the way through the back. Yeah, right here. I brought him up through so that way I'd have a cool little piece to put through here. And I plan to use this going up this way. And if you guys want me to make a video on covering up the back and making the back look a little bit better, I'm more than happy to do that. Just ask. Otherwise, I'm going to call this video done because it's already gone on for 6 parts. And a lot of it at this point is just a lot of common sense stuff. Continuing to fill in where you see holes, gaps and such the best you can. Going ahead and finishing from this side onwards. And because it seems to be a little bit more of an industry, you know, people accept it in the wire weaving industry, that the back can look like crap, I'm going to kind of leave it that way unless you guys want a video on how to do it better. I may just record what I do silently and just for future reasons. But yeah, I'm going to pretty much call this here done. You guys are all very intelligent people. I'm sure you can figure it out from this point onwards all on your own. Heavy sucker. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, favorite, subscribe. Leave me in the comment section things you guys would like to learn. June is going to be a bit of Hell Week. I've got some pre-recorded videos. Hell Week, Hell Month. I got some pre-recorded videos for that whole month, so I won't be doing anything that is requested. But as soon as June is over, I do plan to pick right back up and just go in order. So having a nice little list ready, that's always great. Keep in mind, I do more than just jewelry making and jewelry weaving. I also do watercolors, acrylics, oils, drawing, and obviously jewelry work. So please ask. I'm here to help you guys. More than happy to. And yeah, and if you guys want to help out my channel, you can also go up to my little banner where on my channel where it says Our Class is My Way and click on the little PayPal button. Donate whatever you feel like, even if it's just a couple bucks. Every little bit helps. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this little series, and let me know what you guys think. I'm always happy to hear from you. Have a great day. Was going to say good night because it was 4 a.m. not that long ago. I'm still really tired, and I think I'm going to go back to sleep after I get done editing this. Yeah. Thanks for coming and hanging out, guys. You're all great. Bye.